Alf Sports Card Hobby family, today we're going to look at my top 5 most expensive sports cards in my collection currently.
You take the card and put it in the sleeve.
But stay to the end because we're going to talk about, yes, expensive cards, but I have a couple of little tidbits I want to add on the back of this that I think are really important for hobbyists to consider when we're talking about cards, budgeting, and all that sort of thing. Before I get started, shout out to our channel partners, PSA. Guys, tell a friend. I know many of you have already graded with PSA, but you have friends that have not. And why should they pay full price when they can get $25 off their first order? Just a 1 card minimum, $25 off with the SCD25 code. You have to put it in at the shipping and billing screen at checkout, so make sure to check out PSA. You want quality supplies, waterproof cases. Is your case waterproof? Make sure it is. Card Capsule is the place to go. Semi-rigids, top loaders, all the supplies that you need. And as you might have guessed, in the video description and the pinned comments, I've got all the discounts, all the hobby discounts, including Card Capsule. You have a collection to sell, but you have no idea where to go with it. It's justcollect.com. They've got a very easy appraisal site over there. Just put in your information. Leighton Sheldon and the team will take care of you. And don't forget to check out the Just Collect YouTube channel where Leighton Sheldon interviews a lot of great hobbyists as well as industry folks. You can learn a lot on the Just Collect YouTube channel. All right, so about 18 months ago, I would say, I started to really focus and think about how could I consolidate my collection into some larger cards, have some foundational pieces of my collection, because I've always historically had a lot of volume of stuff. As you can see behind me, no shortage of things, and I'm all into the 80s, 90s nostalgia stuff, so it's kind of endless. I not only collect sports cards, but non-sports cards, graded video games, graded action figures, graded comic books. I've got Mad Balls over here. Remember these from the 80s? Sealed Mad Balls. Brings me back in time to 1988, 1989 at the local Kmart, Walmart, the blue light special at the Kmart, Mad Balls, just all the stuff. So like I said, you're going to see a common theme among my most expensive cards with the players. We will start with one of my favorite cards. It is the 84 star, the Olympic card, Michael Jordan. And there is 4 cards in this 1984 star set, if you will. I've got 3 out of the 4. The one that I don't have that has eluded me that I really want to have is the Court Kings. It's an oversized card. It's a great picture of Jordan doing a reverse dunk. Of course, Michael Jordan, known for shocking the world back in '84 when he went with the Olympic team, absolutely demolished the field to win his first gold medal. This card in a PSA 6 is worth about $4,500 currently. All right, the next card is the 84 star Rookie of the Year. I've got this in a PSA 5. The grades on these are so tough. They are brutal with PSA. PSA, of course, is so tough on centering. Our card's not known for being extremely well centered. These are not easy to find in very high grades. This one also in about the $4,500 range in a PSA 5. Card number 3. This is one where I was actually looking for just the regular non-signed card of this. This, of course, is the Black Refractor Drew Brees Topps Chrome rookie card going back to 2001. And it is numbered to 100. And one day, this card popped up with the in-person autograph, and it's got a cool Brees inscription on it. And I was thinking, my God, this has got to be one of the most unique Brees cards ever. So I thought that it was a really cool opportunity to own a card of my favorite player from my favorite team, New Orleans Saints. Of course, big time, long time New Orleans Saints fan, and to be able to get this card, which on its face is a one of one in the sense that there is not another one. There's not another Black Refractor that has got the cool Brees signature on it. My understanding is there is another Black Refractor that has now been signed, but it's not exactly the same. I've seen some other ones too that have been signed in blue ink, which, man, the blue ink does not go as well, in my opinion, on this, whether it's this card or even the regular refractor card. I've seen the regular refractor card that's signed in blue ink. I just like the black Otto a lot better. So a lot of this is going to be preference with the collector, but I was really excited to pick this up. It's been about 18 months since I got this, maybe 2 years ago. And I estimate it's probably in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, I would guess. Brees card is a little bit tricky because it's one of those, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You've got a limited buyer pool there. It's got to be a big Brees fan. I think there will be some upcoming Drew Brees Hall of Fame buzz with him getting in here soon. Maybe it gets a little bit of a bump. I do think, though, that guys like Drew Brees that were undersized and were able to just read defenses and didn't need to scramble around and then do like a late slide to hopefully draw a flag or run out of bounds, but just before you're about to go out of bounds, you kind of hang in bounds so that you can get a flag. There's actually guys that knew how to read defenses, like Drew Brees. Tom Brady would be another one of these guys. And there's not many quarterbacks in today's league that can do that. There's some very good quarterbacks out there, but I think a lot of Brees' passing records are going to hold up for a while. I mean, now they're moving into, they've got an extra game on the schedule. They'll probably move to 18 games. If you're comparing an 18-game season to a 16-game season, I think 5,000-yard passing seasons are going to become a lot more common when they weren't common when Brees was playing with my Saints. So, I think that Brees, though, over time, I think he's just more well-respected. He's a good guy, good family guy that always really played the game well, and he's undersized. So he's an average dude. It's like me out there slinging it around. So he's relatable to really every guy on the couch out there watching football is rooting for a guy like Brees, because not everybody is 6'5", 230 pounds, with a cannon. All right, and last but certainly not least, this one usually lives in a safety deposit box, but we pulled it out here to show it is of course, the 84 star 1 of 1. It's a PSA 5.5. There was a really, really nice copy, a PSA 6, that I saw just sold for about $26,700 or something like that. So I would estimate the 5.5 is probably about a $20,000 card, I would guess here. And again, usually the border on the top is what really hurts this card. Of course, you've got corners and edges, but these cards typically have a really thick top border. You'll see these when you're looking at the 101s. And so to find that, the top to bottom centering is really the toughie. It's always usually thick on top, and then of course on the bottom, a lot of times the writing is really close to the edge. So the top to bottom is something really to watch for these cards. And of course, PSA just really, really tough on centering. So I'm happy to own this one. Again, I've talked about it. This is a long-term hold for me. It's a card that I never thought that I would be able to own. As a whole, there's a lot of talk about 90s Jordan inserts and 90s numbered cards and that sort of thing for Jordan. And I get all the excitement around those cards. They're very important cards in the hobby, but I just prefer, I think it's the nostalgia effect of the 80s Jordan cards. I know it's just simple cardboard. I know they're not shiny, but they're the origins of where the player came from, the origins of, where he kind of got his start, where he started to take over the league. So whether that's the 84 star cards or the star cards after, or you've got the Fleer cards, 86 Fleer. My buddy DPZ has an 87 Fleer and a PSA 10. That's a monster card to me. There's high grade 80s Jordan cards I think are just awesome. Not even high grade, just any of them. And here's my last one here is the Interlake card. This is the 85 Interlake card. This was a promotional card that was licensed to the Bulls from the Bulls locally in Chicago. This was handed out in limited quantities to young people out there. It's an oversized card. This is a PSA 5, estimated about $2,500. I use market movers to try to kind of figure out where we are on these. Because again, these are just long-term holds for me. I just want to hold on to these for a very long time. Jordan is really the big GOAT of this generation. I think as we move forward in time, he's going to be Babe Ruth for basketball. And again, I just really like the 80s stuff. I know the 90s stuff gets a lot more attention. It's flashier, literally. It's flashier with how shiny it is and the cool inserts and that sort of a thing from the mid to late 90s. But the 80s stuff is just so classic. It's unbelievably classic. All right, so on that note, I know that social media really, shines a light on expensive cards, of course, but I really think, guys, I'll be honest, everybody has thousands of dollars to spend on cardboard. But what I will say is I think that there is such a unique zone between $500 and maybe up to about $1,500 there, where you can get some really, really quality cards, in my opinion, in that price range that I believe have the potential to go up over time. I want to show a few of these cards as examples. Now, this is a card not in the $500 to $1,500 range where I bought it. This is one of the first cards in 2018 when I got back into the hobby. And I spent $212 on this Pete Maravich rookie card. It's a PSA 6. And I remember thinking at the time, I am absolutely insane for spending $200 on a sports card back in 2018. I also bought a Jim Brown rookie card, a PSA 3, around the same price. And the reason why I got these cards is because I remember as a kid, these were like ghosts. And I know it's crazy to think about because you're thinking like, well, these aren't super rare cards. But in my little local card shop in Florida that I used to go to as an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old, these cards would pop up, but it wasn't anywhere near as much as what you saw from 89 Upper Deck or kind of, those new sets they were printing a lot of. And so I thought these cards are so spectacular and they're way out of my price range and I'll never own them. And so this will always be a classic card I'm going to keep in my collection just because it was one of the first cards that I bought getting back in. The other guy, other than Tom Brady, that has 7 championships, Otto Graham. Now, will Otto Graham ever get the same sort of love as a Tom Brady? This is his 1950 Bowman rookie card. This is an $800 or $900 card, maybe $1,000 card in a PSA 6. But again, I thought this would be just a really cool historical card to own. This is kind of like one of the guys way before the NFL was ever a popular multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that it is. And these are the guys that set the stage. An example of a guy that set the stage, playing with a leather helmet so that today's players can play, make millions of dollars and do their thing. So that's another example of just a kind of a classic card. If you're looking at the history of football, the history of the NFL, check out the 1950 Bowman Otto Graham. Let's shift over to Willie Mays, rest in peace, a guy that I want to have more cards of Willie Mays. This is an early 2000s, 2001 Fleer showcase. This is a redemption card, the Sweet Sigs. It's an on-card autograph for Willie Mays. And this is a PSA 7. I think this is the highest grade version of this card, a PSA 7. There's approximately only about 60 of these that came out via redemption. But again, just a classic card. And this is another place where I look, and I know a lot of smart baseball card collectors look at the early 2000s Fleer cards and late 90s Fleer autograph cards. They have some really nice stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Willie Mays or a Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds has got some great stuff too, but depending on which player you're looking for, there's a lot of different price points there. Cool autographs, cool mem cards. So definitely check out some of those early 2000 Fleer cards. This is another one where I got it at a good price. I got it for $250 going back, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago now. And it's a first-year Exquisite Barry Sanders auto. It's numbered out of 35. Barry Sanders has really taken off here over the last couple of years with a lot of his PMGs going way up in price and the 90s insert stuff getting really expensive. 2005 Exquisite is first year Exquisite football. And again, when you're thinking of just kind of important sets over time, there's a lot of emphasis on football cards right now with new QBs and new products. Topps Chrome football is coming back. But I would suggest for those that are collecting football, take a look at some of these sets. First year Prism is 2012. First year Exquisite is 2005. And there are some really, really nice cards from this set. A lot of nice Exquisite cards in general, but think back to, early Exquisite basketball that gets all the love and all of the attention. Well, there's Exquisite football as well, and a lot of these cards fly under the radar. I'm not sure where this one would sell at. Again, I got it for about $250. It's probably between $500 and $1,000, I would guess currently. But just thinking outside the box a little bit, a lot of this sort of stuff is not on social media. I don't see a lot of 2005 Exquisite on the IG Reels or the IG posts, people showing off these types of cards. And this is where you can really learn about important sets and then important players within those sets. And it can really make the collecting experience that much better, especially when we're comparing prices to new products. We talked about it in yesterday's video where, new product just pops out. It's very, very expensive. When you're looking at new product, a value box that we saw yesterday for $220 for Series 1 baseball, $220 can go a long way in the singles market. Or if you were going to buy a couple boxes, $400 or $500 in the singles market, that can go a long way, whether it be raw cards that you're buying to grade to maybe flip or just collector cards. There's a lot of great vintage cards that are in that $400, $500, $600 price range. A player that I'm speculating on, I very rarely speculate on new players. It is Caitlin Clark. I put maybe $5,000, I would say, over the last 3-4 months into Caitlin Clark cards, the new Select, the new Prism. I've had fun just kind of looking at the checklist, picking my spots. I've got quite a few at PSA now, and I've got a few more that I need to send to PSA, but I'm really focused on the numbered cards that are coming out, not really the base stuff. Even the silver Prisms, I'm not really messing with at this point. I'm going to wait for them to be graded out, kind of let those prices settle on the PSA 10s and go from there. But the stuff that is numbered, that's popping out at auction, I'm just trying to pick my spots and see where I can find some deals. Because what's interesting with these that I've noticed, whether it's Select or Prism, there's a lot of variance right now, with those prices, and it's because there's not a stable price point with graded cards. There's not enough graded supply out there to really kind of have a feel for pricing. And so there are some auctions that I feel like just kind of slip through and sell for a little bit less than maybe they should have. So it's an interesting time out there in the hobby, my friends. Don't get caught up so much on what's expensive and what's not. There's a lot of great sports cards that are $1, $2, $5 that'll bring back nostalgic memories. Who remembers 89 Hoops, David Robinson? Of course, there's this one and then the other one where he's holding the jersey. This was a classic card from my childhood. It doesn't even have to be graded. You can enjoy it in a binder. Friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.